Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. Okay, Lakers play tonight at the Crow, New Orleans Pelicans. And to be honest with you, this is another one of those games where if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you need to be on your P's and Q's. This is a team on a 4-game winning streak. They've made some trades that would condense their roster to make it so that the players that they need to have the ball in their hands is going to have plenty of looks each and every night. They had a situation where they had a lot of different players playing at the guard positions, and obviously with Zion out, they were a little lacking in talent here and there. But being as it is, they've made a trade for C.J. McCollum, and he's come in playing some of the best basketball of his career immediately for this team. And so you have to assume he's going to continue to play fantastically well against our porous defense tonight. You have to pay attention to Brandon Ingram, obviously, all-star last year, a guy who's healthy right now and going completely nuts. He's really stepped his game up in the assist category, becoming more of a playmaker, more of a multi-dimensional offensive talent. And I'm just always a fan of what it is that he does, what it is that he brings to the table. And his development in New Orleans has been very good. So, in the midst of a lot of things that has the Pelicans being brought up in regards to it, he and C.J. McCollum have been a bright spot for them on that floor. You want to pay attention to a guy by the name of Herb Jones as well. Very multi-dimensional rookie who can do a lot of different things for them defensively, rebounding the ball, just an all-around hardcore power forward, small forward kind of dude who's going to just do the dirty work for their team and continue to get better as he goes along. So he's definitely someone you want to pay attention to. He's a fantastic rookie. So Devontae Graham, I'd imagine he's going to have a lot of opportunities to shoot the ball tonight. He's somebody I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I'd expect him to put up some good numbers against bad defense. Yeah, those are the names that come to mind. Obviously, Jonas Valanciunas is somebody you have to pay very close attention to. Their center, who can also stretch the floor, rebound the ball. We know him well. He's a player who's going to have opportunities tonight, being that we do the small ball thing. So I'd imagine he's going to have fun. Yeah, they got a lot of guys now that have kind of, like I said, settled into real roles. It's not as much depth on this team. They're definitely on a mission to try to maintain their playoff positioning. And we are right there with them. I think they're in the 7th seed, and right now we're in the 8th seed. So this is an extremely important basketball game for the Lakers on many fronts. And this is the team that's going to be trying to knock us out of the play-in tournament situation. With them and Portland and several others, that's what we need to pay attention to. So given as we've lost to Portland very recently, twice, it would stand to reason why we would think this game would be very important for us. We're coming off a bad loss against the LA Clippers, which for myself, to be honest with you, I didn't receive that game like the consensus. Most of the people who I've listened to are saying that they were very disappointed and all. They were dejected by that loss. I felt like I watched a game where our team played very hard. They made some bad decisions, bad IQ decisions, poor stuff in regards to not being able to get defensive stops down the stretch of the game. But I was not mad at us for not being able to score in the fourth quarter because we spent most of the fourth quarter staring at the back of jerseys. Guys were just standing around waiting for the referees to do their bullshit. Excuse my language, but that's what it was. So, you would go 20 and 30 minutes at a time without anyone running around, so they're going to be cold. So I just didn't have the expectations upon us in that fourth quarter that I think most of the world did. Because there was so much game stoppage. I mean, it's just hard to get going. We got vets, you know what I mean? So for me, I just had an entirely different scope on that game, and I was actually pretty pleased with ultimately what I saw from our team, because I know for a fact we're going to be at a disadvantage as it pertains to playing small ball. Even though Dwight Howard had his best game of the season, it didn't matter because Frank Vogel's coaching him and he's not going to be playing. So, of course, we didn't see him in the fourth quarter regardless, and we were having issues rebounding the ball and things of that nature as always. That's the story with us every night. So now I'm looking for things within that. That's the formula for how we're going to lose games each and every night. Now the question is, are we able to get something out of the young guys? Are we able to see patches at a time where guys can just work with one another in the midst of all of these terrible circumstances. We are on a mission to try to develop players, and if we happen to win ball games in that process, so be it. But that's really where we're at. If we're not aiming for a championship, then we should be aiming for a rebuild. And let's get to the play-in tournament. Let's fight for our lives because LeBron and all this. I don't care nothing about that no more, man. 1 out of 4 is good. As I keep telling you guys, 1 out of 4 is straight. They had an opportunity to fix this situation earlier in the season, and they waited until it was too late. It is now too late. So we need to just move on and focus on the development of those young players and galvanize a list of people we can get to replace those who need to be removed. That's the Lakers' job right now. And of course, the most immediate position that they have for themselves is to win this basketball game tonight, or at least compete well against a very, very hot New Orleans Pelicans team. Players that I'm going to be looking for: Malik Monk. Where you been? I know your minutes are kind of down. I know we've seen Austin Reeves kind of step up, but with Avery Bradley being out of the lineup, I expect him to kind of step out and play better. I don't know what's going on, but his production over the last 3 weeks hasn't been what it is. Even through the All-Star break, you would think he would have been snapped out of that. 7 points in the last game. I need him to step back into his confidence. We know what he can do. He can score in his sleep. There should be no reason he's not averaging more than 18 points a game for us, especially with the role that we have for him for the rest of the season. We got to see him play better, and I think he will. Obviously Carmelo Anthony's coming off a bad loss, even though he put up some really solid numbers for us. The fact of the matter is he was a real catalyst for some of our failure out there offensively, and I think he's going to want to bounce back strong from that. I know what type of player he is, and I don't think he's patting himself on the back for that performance. Same goes for LeBron James, obviously. As I pointed out, I felt like he didn't do a good enough job getting others involved. I know a lot of people are pointing out the turnovers. That was a thing. But for me, what I saw more so that frustrated me was not the turnovers. It was more so just about seeing him kind of looking off players. He's a facilitator on his team. He's supposed to be the most prolific facilitator probably in the league, not named Nikola Jokic or Chris Paul or something. You want to see him always have the mindset of making whoever is on the floor better and making sure that the ball is getting to those players in rhythm. I'm going to be honest with you. That level of his skill set, as far as I have seen with him being a Laker, has not been up to par with what I thought. He's a phenomenal passer, as in the mechanics of making difficult passes. He can make, his vision allows him to make incredible passes. But he is not as consistent with rhythm passes to players as you want him to be. He'll get his rhythm shots to his boy Carmelo. Certain guys, he looks for them. But the guys who need to be developed, he tends to kind of not really trust them as 100% of the time. And for him to be our facilitator, he has to make that decision more often going forward. I understand when the pressure's on to win championship, you got to take it upon yourself to score more. But I think what this team now needs, we need to see you forego easy opportunities to score so that the HBKs, a.k.a. Austin Reeves, can get his shots up. So that a guy like THT, when he's hot, can get some more shots up. These are things that are going to help you if you're going to be on this team next year, because it'll make those players better and you'll have more quality talent around you. If we forego opportunities for making them better, not only will they not be better for you next year, but you won't be able to get anything for them when you try. And so that's the importance of why I always preach ball movement, player movement, fluid offense, effort on defense. I mean, you just do the best you can defensively, but offensively, we have got to do better with what it is we have. And so I'm looking for LeBron James to step his game up in that way. Make sure that ball's popping, forego opportunities to get easy buckets so that other guys can get theirs. And I think we'll see a better team overall. Bron can always get his. We never have to worry about that. And neither does he. So, some of those stop and pop 3-point shots when he doesn't want to drive to kind of conserve his legs, I would rather him use those opportunities to make passing plays for other people. You don't have to move no more or no less we can just get more if we run a real play in those possessions. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, wanting you to just drive and do more for your body. No, it's just about making sure that the franchise gets quality possessions in those situations. You can still stand, you can still jog a little. It ain't gonna kill you to make those plays for others. So that's what I want to see him do, man. I'm looking at him now. Obviously, it's been looking at him all year, but this is a situation where he is considered day-to-day tonight, so there is a chance you don't see him at all tonight, but I think he will play. Kendrick Nunn, haven't heard anything new. Last I checked, he was questionable with one of the previous games, but I knew that was cap. I shouldn't have even told y'all that. I think it was just a miswrite in the particular thing that I was looking at, but all in all, who knows when we see that dude? Who knows? That might have been the biggest failure of everything we've done, honestly. It was just giving him the mid-level and not giving that to Malik Monk so that we can keep him on tap for next season. But, hindsight's 2020, and that's what we don't have. But what we do have is a date with the Pelicans and a lot of issues. Hopefully they can get fixed. Hopefully, I'm looking for the Lakers to start getting their minds right as it pertains to that front office. I get it, you got a nightmare on your hands, blah, blah, blah. But it's been a lot of sitting on your hands, and I think at the end of the day, if you don't want LeBron to be in charge, at least make sure that the decisions that you make independent of him make sense. And that's what I'm looking for going forward. If you're going to take his power away from him, if you're going to stop and say, you know what, no more, we've done everything we can for you, make it work, then I want to see y'all in the background making things happen as well. It's not just time for you to sit back and say, see, I knew you couldn't do it, or none of that. That's not what we need from our front office right now. You guys got a lot of problems independent of your issue with LeBron James, and I think if your infrastructure was more intact, you wouldn't even be having these problems with LeBron James. So that let's just be clear about that. It is what it is, man. As far as tonight's concerned, you know who I'm paying attention to. Brandon Ingram. He's going to want to come back and destroy us. As I told you guys, that's somebody you want to watch out for. Of course, C.J. McCollum. They're going to be heavy on those guys and Devontae Graham. If they get big scoring numbers from those three players, it could be a very, very long night for the Lakers. Those guys are more than capable of dropping 30 apiece on us. Very, very capable of that. So keep an eye out for Devontae Graham. If he's hot, CJ's hot, and BI's hot, they got problems. Now, my question is BI going to continue to be the facilitator that he's been? Because neither one of those two guys are facilitators, but if he's that, for them, you're going to see some good opportunities for them to score a lot of points in bunches. So they're a different team right now. They're not what they were. When you bring in a C.J. McCollum, now you're opening up a lot of spacing for those other two players to operate. So I'm curious to see what they're going to look like there. Jonas Valanciunas, they've done a good job of creating spacing for Zion. Now, obviously, Zion Williamson, there's a lot being said about where he's at mentally in terms of what, does he want to play for New Orleans? All I can really say to that is taking care of your body is the most important thing. When you have the type of athleticism and power that he has, what you don't want to do is take that for granted and think you don't have to take care of your body because of it. Even a guy like Shaquille O'Neal would love to have looked back in his past and done a better job with taking care of himself physically so that he could have gotten more out of his body and his career. Don't get started going down this path of being somebody who isn't disciplined enough to eat properly. I know you're in New Orleans. I know you're a millionaire, and I know you're unhappy. That's a perfect trio for eating poorly. But at the end of the day, the business of basketball starts with your body, and taking care of it will ultimately make sure that you take care of everything else that comes with it. So I'm rooting for Zion. I'm still very, very, very excited about what he's capable of doing on a basketball floor. I haven't forgotten how explosively powerful and next levelly gifted he is as an athlete. And I just think that, I think too much was made of him going to New York pre-draft, and I just think it might have sent him in the wrong direction. Now he had these ideas, and they were deflating, and then a couple injuries pile up, and then New Orleans is continuing to be the New Orleans Pelicans as they are, and he just might have lost something for that desire to play basketball there. But I just don't think that's the way to go. I think he should come back, be healthy, look at the team for what it is. They got a lot of guys that I think can do things for you. You got a bunch of picks coming your way in New Orleans because of the trade for AD. So whatever you think of New Orleans right now, maybe you don't love it there. Maybe you want to go to New York. I assure you, New York Knicks is not a better situation than the New Orleans Pelicans right now. They're not. Because the Pelicans have picks coming from a bad Laker team over the next several years, bro. So whether you there or not, they're going to be getting all kinds of guys coming to that team who are on your timeline. So I don't know if he would ever see this, but I just think it would be a good idea to just be patient as it pertains to New Orleans, because that's one of those places where you just got to sit on it. Let it hatch. They got players now. All you need is to just chill now at this point, get back on the floor, and see what C.J. McCollum can do for you. See what Devontae Graham could do for you in terms of spacing. See what Valanciunas could do for you in terms of spacing. I would give it a shot, because y'all got a chance to make the playoffs, and if y'all able to make the playoffs, hey, maybe he can make some money in the playoffs that way, do some damage in that first round against one of those impossible teams. I don't know, but they're in striking position, because the Portland Trailblazers, even though they're playing well, they're not good enough. And my team, the Lakers, well, we're gonna see tonight how they match up against the Lakers. But I always say Frank Vogel's gonna leave the door open. So the question is whether they're gonna walk through it or not. And I'm gonna keep saying that until we fire him. So anyway, that's what I want to say, man. My name is BDF44. I would love to say I'm excited about this game, but the Lakers don't make me excited about anything. I'm excited about the idea that there's an opportunity for them to make a good decision this offseason. That's what I'm excited about. The notion that they may be aware that there is a chance to really, really give themselves a future with the choice they have to make a change with their stars. 3 max contracts, that's a failure waiting to happen. Please cut it back down to 2, and make sure the players that you sign are young enough to hold down the fort for whatever we got going on. I think that's all I can be excited about. Everything else in front of me, all this, nope. I'm not that type of fan. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But I'll still be watching. My name is BDL44, and I thank you guys for watching me. I'm out.